That's really good. Hello, everyone. Good evening, all. I think everything's in line. Yep, everything's cool. Hello, how you doing? Welcome to the Astroflower Sunday Live. Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's doing well. Been a great week. How's your week been? Tanya?
Oh, you are live. Sorry, I was just checking on the tech in the background. My week's been very good. It's been a very industrious week, I think.
Excellent.
Doing lots, haven't we?
Yeah, we have been doing lots. Been finally getting that story, that 18-month thing we've been working on for some time. Finally getting that to sort of, we're healers and transformation specialists, and I wouldn't say we are, we're not. I'm trying to think. We're a really good director now. Yeah, and we're not one of those great directors. We're not Spielberg, so the editing and stuff like that might have been a little bit dodgy. I hope everybody was able to follow the story, because it was an amazing thing how it gradually evolved. And when you're dealing with these sort of things, it can be quite amazing, really. So let me just sort out. I'm still sorting out my stuff here. There's who we got. We got Jane. Hello, Jane. How you doing? Is that
Frisia
Frisia? Hi, how you doing?
from Cornwall. So
From
we've got
Cornwall.
Loads from the UK tonight. Which is great.
Davos, Stacey. Is it Davos? Yes, it is. Obviously, I haven't got my glasses yet, and I don't think I'm going to be getting them. I never will get them, no. So lovely to see you all.
Oh, Cornwall too.
Oh, Cornwall! I tell you what, lovely.
Have to take a trip down there.
Yeah, we have to go back down to St Michael's Mount, basically the heart chakra of the globe. That's why British theatre, music, art is phenomenal, because we have that heart chakra here. It won't always be here in the future, but at the moment it's here. Let's enjoy it. So, hi Jane. So hi Davos. So for us, right? Okay. Yes. Did you all manage to have a look at those sort of paranormal thing? It was a really interesting something to be involved with. I do that on a regular basis when I'm in France, because I work out the Pyrenees, and they're often houses that are like Cornwall. You get a lot of houses in the from the 17th, 18th century, and even going back even further, that have a lot of history. And a lot of people tend to pass away in their houses over in France. There seems to be a lot more push towards that sort of thing. So I tend to have to, I've been cleaning houses, as it were, for a very long time. And how's that plant lady?
I'm sorry.
Hello, I'm sorry. How you doing? Wow, this is great. So
Kim's the only one from America so far.
hello, Kim. It's Kim. It's Kim. There
Yeah.
is Kim. Hello, Kim. How you doing? Blimey.
Careful.
The table nearly went then. Hang on a second. Let me just put that back in so I don't lose my computer and everything. Yes. So I do. I've been doing it for years, quite literally, 30 years, and this was a tricky one. Partly because I wasn't in the UK all the time. That was part and parcel of it. So I had to sort of like come back and sort of, recross a few T's and dot a few I's. And every time you come back, it's almost as like you're taking off another layer. And then once we started this time round, when we did that video last week about the changing ley lines according to the solar energy that comes through, when we went back this time, we literally, we got the nuts and bolts of it. Joanne, lovely to see you. Glenn, lovely to see you. So we got a lot, we really got back down to the nitty gritty of what was going on. So initially we thought it was between, this is going into that video, making sure everybody, if you haven't seen it, please do go and see it. And we thought the problem was between the two churches. One of the churches was fine, and actually the other church that's where the problem was. And you get a lot of this sort of, shall we say, let me bring up the comments because, so then you can get it back in the live. Hang on a second.
No, Durban's here. From Cape Town.
Excellent. So, yes, Durban, I want to be talking about that question you asked earlier on in the week. And we just bring up the comments and then everybody can see later on when I put this out as a video. So yeah, we what was I saying? Yeah, we this time here when we did that video on last Sunday, we found the nuts and bolts of it and what was really going on. And a lot of places where you have energy, people tend to do magic on them and stuff like that and redirect them, and they can use sort of like, I call it the hotel. What is it called?
It's the altar.
The altar.
In the UK, we call it the altar.
Yeah, I've known it all because I've had to learn this all in French, all my healing and everything like that, which was absolutely mad because I went over to France, couldn't speak a word, so I had to learn it all the hard way. Well, nice way anyway. It's, and sometimes they put the hotel and the altar in a particular way. Got it right. The altar in a particular way, so that redirects the energy, and you can use sort of shapes and symbols and stuff like that. And you can siphon off, if you like, a little bit of the, I would say, not necessarily the energy, but you can siphon off the vibration. And that's what appeared to be happening at St. Cosmas. I'm going to get it right because I kept calling it St. Cosmos in the videos. St. Cosmas and St. Damien. A fantastic church. And the people looking after the church are absolutely lovely. And, it's, things can get caught up. And as I said in the video, I'm nobody's judge. And, I'm not here to sort of like chase after people doing magic and stuff like that. I haven't got time for that. My job is to take out all the pollution, put it back to square one, so the energy then flows freely. So what happened is just on the other side of the house that we were dealing with, that other house sort of like took the brunt of it, and it ended up burning down because you had the energy coming from the St. Peter's Church, which was pretty good. And as the two collided, the energies collided, that's what created a situation where accidents happen and etc., etc., etc. And that's what was happening in that area there. Simply because back at St. Cosmas, some sort of magic had been done, which had, there was two vortexes outside the church, and they were being used to siphon off the energy and stuff like that. So, I'm not a big fan of black magic and white magic and stuff like that, because I think it's wasting everybody's time. We've got to stop messing about with all of that and just get on and take the energy and vibration and start opening up my consciousness, as far as I'm concerned.
There's a couple of comments here.
Okay, yeah.
The plant lady from Surrey says her home is on a line between Glastonbury and Canterbury. So coming through Surrey, coming up through. That's very interesting. And Jane, it says, does every church lie on a ley line? Or is this the energy line created once the church is built? So very, very good question there.
Yeah, you can encourage a line to deviate to a place of, worship, or a place of, of good sentiment and stuff like that. Yeah, you can do that. There is no doubt about it, but not really crossing lines when lines will cross. So modern churches, you might just have one line going through them. But as crossing lines, no, because most churches, and especially over in mainland Europe and where I was in the south of France, you get a lot of churches, and I think someone commented about it, something was it Fishtails?
Yeah.
Fishtails commented on it, and Fishtails commented on it, and they often built churches on already sites of gathering. Let's put it like that. Where you had like they were called barbarians, weren't they? Before they called was it barbarians, or the church would say that this is the old way, the Celtic way of doing things, and not good and everything like And so basically, you build a church there, and when people come back to gather, they see that you're building a church, and then they give them a chance to explain about the new religion and so forth. So a lot of places were originally a place of gathering or worship or something like that, and then basically the churches were put on that place to supersede any religions before. And so, for example, the religion before, it was a T rather than a cross. And, the T religion was then sort of put into place. This is all very basic. This is not basic history, but this is real history sort of stuff, to convince people in the Nordic countries and also the Jewish faith of taking the bar of the Jewish faith and slipping it down so it created the cross. Because in my information, as far as I've been told the story about JC, it wasn't a cross. He was put to stake, basically. But that's a story for another day. I'm not going to get diverted onto that at the moment. We can do a whole thing on that because it's quite an amazing story. But so usually it's already a place of crossing energies. So
is that
most churches.
Why you feel when you go into a church, you do feel the energy within the church. And that's what struck me, actually, knowing the lines were there. It makes sense to how you feel when you walk into a church.
Yeah. Does everyone get this feeling when you walk into a chapel or a church? Do you get a change of sensation and stuff like that? Because I think, well, I do all the time. I have always, So there was that. What was the other question? There was another question as well.
Just the plant lady, she lived on the line.
Oh yeah, that's going. Okay, so we've been looking at that as well in this other story to do with the Black Knight. Now that's we've been on that trail now for 5 years. We've been investigating that for 5 years, and it's taken us across everywhere in the country, in the south part of the UK, basically just slightly north of the M4 corridor. For those of you who know, it's a motorway that goes from London right through to south of Wales. And it sort of divides the country a little bit, between north and south, or central UK and south UK. And we've been doing that sort of thing and making these sort of connections. And I'm trying to put together a connection to see where there's not like another point, which, it could be like Orleans with Joan of Arc and all of that. It could go down to a point down there, which could be make that like a golden triangle sort of thing going on. Yeah.
I've got a very interesting question here.
Okay.
From Kai in Hastings.
Is this Cayenne?
No, Kai.
Oh, Kai. Sorry.
We're wondering, when you close a portal, what would happen if a spirit was accidentally left behind? Would it be stuck, or could it find its way another route back?
No one's left behind. No one's left. I'm an administrator of spirits, and the last thing I don't leave people behind. What you do is, if you're closing a portal on one side, you can pick them out the other way. But what you take the spirits out before you close the portal. So even before I close that portal there, we'd already dealt with a few spirits already in that house. And then when I went back and did the same thing, when I'd had to close it again because they'd done the renovation. It wasn't because they'd done the renovation. Because we were bringing, like an abscess, we're bringing it slowly to the surface. And when it came to the surface, I had to put another door on there, as it were. This was a little bit more sort of serious or solid, but like an iron door on it. And I asked, Shiva, a friend of mine, to keep an eye on it and stuff like that, because they were having problems again in the house. And that's what brought me back to the finalised thing of working out what was going on in Cosmos and finding that magic that was going on that was diverting the line. So as you gradually, you close one end, you're going to concentrate everything down to the other end, and then you go down there, clean everything out. Once they're cleaned out, they're cleaned out. There's no way in which they can re-manifest. Some will sort of, when you're in that spirit phase, maybe I should explain about that, of this is how I understand it, right? Okay. It's like if you saw that video on what's the difference between a spirit and a soul. If you get disconnected to your soul, the other spirits, which are your guides and stuff like that, that spirit there tends to get caught between two realities, which is as close to a a nightmare place as much as possible. And some people, some spirits will retract to that before I can get to them, but they can't come back to that portal because it's closed. So they just go back to where they came from in a way. But that zone where spirits are blocked, we're gradually squeezing them out because everything needs to be clear for this transition that we're going through, and we will be going through in the near future. So it's like, I don't know if you've all seen these, read the Celestian prophecies and stuff like that. I read it back in the 80s and years and years ago. And there was this whole sort of thing, I think in the 10th Insight or something like that. It was talking about the spirits that were caught on the dark side. And that's a bit like what it is. So, they can retract into that. But any spirit, the moment you open the doorway to the stairs upstairs and you show them the bright light, like moths to a light, they will not be able to resist but follow it. So, you can reunite spirits with souls and everything like that. It's really quite nice, really. But they have to do a big review. And usually, spirits that get left behind more often than not have had a complicated sort of situation. So, the thing is, you clear out as much as possible, but there's some people that are hardened sort of spirits. As I went on to the crossing point at St. Cosmas, there was people guarding that magic that was in the church. And they came at me, flying at me straight away. And I dealt with them on that video that I did last Sunday. And the moment you can flip spirits for being nasty into really nice, like going like Othello. And once they realised that actually I was really good at playing Othello, that they all kind of went, oh, okay, right, we're screwed. So they kind of gave up, sort of like trying to get me.
But not all spirits. I mean, there was one residual spirit in that property that you had to deal with, who was causing mischief more than anything with the resident. Unfortunately, I didn't video you dealing with that one, but you were having almost a bit of a laugh with that particular spirit because he seemed to be a bit mischievous, and you were having a bit of a laugh as you helped him across.
Well, we should never forget. We've all, every single spirit you come across was at some point somebody's grandmother, somebody's grandfather, or somebody's father, or somebody's daughter, or somebody's son. You know what I mean? It's, if you give the opportunity for a spirit to be pure again, it will bite your arm off, to get to it. So I don't, I go into that being the 0.0 and everything like that, finding your energy 0.0. You have to be in a completely non-judgmental scenario, because otherwise, you're going to be fighting other people's battle. And I'm not a sword for hire, as it were. I've already done my battles 30 odd years ago, when I was fighting with energy, and luckily I had Shiva who was teaching me over that time, and it's much difficult. Well, he taught me an enormous amount because he's got 8 swords, and when you're fighting against 8 swords, it makes you very versatile in your energy of how you deal with things. So,
Jane says, thank you very much for answering her question, and says she feels weirdly comforted when in a church.
Yeah.
And then she's asked another question. Do the spirits you interact with come back to visit you at all at some point? Does their energy stay with you?
No. Basically, if I open the doorway, that spirit ain't coming back. It's going upstairs. It's going to go through its review. Because think about it. The whole idea of reincarnation, if you're stuck here, you're not going to reincarnate. Your guides are never going to reincarnate because they're tied to your soul thing. And, my grandfather, who I have the hugest respect for, don't I? You're a lovely guy, and was a lovely guy, but his journey was to continue. It shouldn't be to stay here. And I've got my own energies to deal with. I haven't got time to deal with other, there is spirits that try and, they try it on, but I don't.
Do you ever tap into the essence though of a spirit beyond if you've passed somebody over? Do you ever get a sort of an imprint or an essence of one beyond that time?
What do you mean by imprint?
Well, just have you ever had somebody come back a second time if you were in a healing, for example, and someone had passed over? Might they come back and speak to a person that you've been working with again?
No.
Never
They tend to. If they do come back, they won't present as an actual. I won't be able to. What normally happens when I'm sitting with someone and doing a healing with them, they're sitting in front of me. The person who's come to see me completely disappears, and the other person is then sitting in front of me, and that's the person who's caught between those two leaves or two. That's French. Two pages of reality. Once you pass them over, they don't really want to come back either. Why would you want to come back when you're in a place where it's absolutely bliss? So they don't tend to come back. If they do come back, they're not going to give you advice because they're not your guides. That my grandfather, I've seen my grandfather, or I've seen him at distance because that's what they present. Once they've gone upstairs, they present as a distance. They present very much more like a ghost, like a white, translucent figure, really, more than anything else. And they're much more humble because they understand everything, and they don't try and give you guidance in a way, because you've got to live your life, and you've got to make all the mistakes all by yourself like a grown-up, and you've got to learn from them. And if they were here constantly kind of going, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this, who's living the life there? Who's taking on the karma that's connected to all of that? So, spirits, they've got their journey to continue on, and if you do connect to a spirit, if they've been gone for some time, what you are actually doing is like you're reading their book out of the Akashic library. So it's almost like you're talking to an AI version of them, but it's not them. It's an AI version of them. So they're using memory stock from their life to respond to you in a certain way, if you like. That is very, very possible. And I wouldn't also, that's the other thing, I don't really take advice from spirits who've been caught between two worlds. I tend to sort of they tend to sort of like pass on their love. And, I've talked about this before. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, didn't I? And sort of like some people can have a really bad relationship with a parent, for example, and they've passed over and they turn up. And the person who's receiving the healing is kind of going, oh, they're here, aren't they? Sort of thing. And, the spirit that's come through, they also come through kind of going, and I was sitting there just kind of going, it doesn't really matter, guys. It's over. It's done. Just, have your peace and let things go. And, I'm not there to judge anybody. I'm not saying who's right and who's wrong. All I'm sort of saying here is that it's over. It's finished. Time to let go. And so I tend to do that. So I don't tend to sort of like take on massive sort of like advice from people and stuff like that. Yeah.
Vita and Coral have just joined us.
Vita?
And Coral.
And Coral as well.
Very, very early in the morning in Australia.
Are you having your cup of tea, Coral? Welcome to the day. Vita, hello, how you doing? Lovely to see you. Lovely to see you. Yes.
James just said, I wonder as a healer if you retained like a shadow of the interaction, sort of like a consciousness battery.
What with the person I'm giving healing to? Is that what, do I retain the people that come and see me, or the spirits? Spirits? No. It's not the way it works. I don't allow any of them. I'm very brutal when it comes down to those sort of things. And I go, no, I don't. I'm an administrator. I'm kind of go, no, I haven't got time for that. You are going there, right? I'm going to send you off to there, and I will, you deal with it when you get up there.
But you do communicate on behalf of somebody who's sitting with you.
Yeah.
They have a message.
If they come through, I will communicate that. I don't call people, no.
No, but if they need to say something to somebody that works.
Of course. Yeah, I will communicate with them, but I don't take any residue with me at all. That's that whole 0 point energy, finding your 0 point. As a healer, So basically, the old way of healing was, you know, I could put my hand on you and I could take your ills, your pains, your woes, your worries away from you. But I would have to deal with it. And I didn't like that as an idea as a healer. And so I, over 15 years trying to develop my own healing method, you know, I got into a place where it was much more proactive, where I was, you know, helping people to live life, preventing illnesses and problems rather than working towards a cure. So some people will come and see me once a year, 2 years, and so forth. But you know, just to sort of as like a checkup in a way. And the thing is, you can get confused. So I would feel people, and I feel people all the time. That's Brimble.
Hey, Brimble.
There's, you know, I feel people all the time, and their illnesses just sitting there. You know, being on the London Tube can be a right pain in the neck, and you've got to know when to switch it off, and you've got to know as well what is your pain and what is the pain of the person that's come to see you. And at no point should you ever confuse that, because that's when you can then take on, well, not take on, you, it's not mimic either. You basically, you assimilate, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you very much. You assimilate the problem of the other person within yourself, and you can end up having that problem because you do not have those boundaries between you and the other person. And that tends to be when you allowed your emotions to get involved. So I can't, when I'm doing healing, I can't get my emotions involved, because otherwise I can't help the people as much as if I, you know, disconnect and everything like that, you know. Sim, how you doing, my friend? Lovely to see you.
Got a great question here from Brimble.
Okay, great question from Brimble. How you doing, Brimble? Lovely to see you. Hope family's good.
She's saying,
yes.
I'm interested to understand spirit attachments.
Mm-hmm.
Are there signs that someone has a spirit attached to them, and how do you get rid of them?
Okay, yeah.
Great question.
Yeah, great question. It often comes out in the shape of the aura, the outer layers of an aura of someone. It's not like they're attached to you, but they are that you've got like a doorway that you allow them in, as it were. So then it can affect you more than anything else. And it's usually on the okay, so it's left to right. It's usually on the right hand side of the person. So my left, their right hand side, but you can sort of feel that. You know, yeah. But you know, what was the second part of the question? Can you get rid of them? Was that?
So obviously you can see that someone has a spirit attached to them. How do you get rid of them if they are attached?
I peel them off.
Gently?
Yeah, gently. I peel them off, and basically it's like you leave something somewhere, so then you've got that connection, so you can always make your way back to that person, as it were. So it's like a bit like a tracker. That's the best thing to do. So I put the tracker down, and then that person will come through, and then I can deal with it.
Why do spirits get attached? Sorry, that's just a very obvious question, but why do spirits attach to people? And how do they do that?
Well, because they've got this. Spirits work on like Groundhog Day, you know, so they repeat 24 hours constantly. They're not conscious of notions of time at all. And the problem with that is, if you repeat the same day, you are going to go, it's going to be very trying for the spirit. And so they attach to people to give a sense of existence and a notion of time as well.
So it's not malicious in any way. It's just more spirit in suffering sort of thing.
Yeah. As I say, I think all spirits are not bad. They're genuinely not bad. It's like, you know, kids aren't born racist. You know what I mean?
So how do they attach themselves?
Well, they tend to attach people. Usually, it's through family connections and so forth. So you might have an item of a member of your family that you use, like a ring or a bag, or or painting, or there's usually a connection, stuff like that we keep.
Do you necessarily know, as the person that you're hosting an entity? What would make it obvious
in that person? I suppose habits is a very good thing to look out for. So if you start doing the same sort of habits, if you're looking at your mother or your father, or the people that are really close to you, yeah, you can inherit those habits without having any sort of attachment. But also, doing weird stuff without, recognizing that it's not you doing it, if you know what I mean. And you just kind of get this notion and kind of go, why am I doing that?
So it's almost like subconsciously you're doing something without consciously being aware of it.
Yeah, because what they're doing with that tracker, you have this part of your aura which is porous, which is the outer layers. It's usually around about 2 meters away from you. So auras are actually really quite big. And in that point there, it can make your interaction with the vibrations around you, because it's not directly energy, as it were, but it's the vibrations that are around you that then give you notions to do things, because that's what you're trying to feed that vibration, if you understand what I mean. So, that spirit may have a demand for a type of vibration, and then, because your aura will be orientated a little bit towards it, you're going to be pulling it in to satisfy that spirit in a way.
It's very interesting.
Lynn, it's lovely to see you.
Just to back up what you just said, Lynn said, I had a spirit attached to me for many years. The healer told me that I kept them with me through an object. That's what you just said.
Yeah.
I was told to get rid of it by putting it into water, and it left.
Yeah. You can break it really easily. This is what I said in the video, is that you should never be scared about these sort of things. Because one day you will be purely a spirit. I will be purely a spirit. We will be pure energy. That's all you will be. This thing here, lovely as it is, I will be giving it back to its owner, which is planet Earth. And then I'm just a spirit. So, I forgot what the beginning part was. What did I start that as? There you go. I must have a spirit attached to me.
Through an object.
Through an object, yeah. So basically, the fearness, that's what I was talking about, the fearness. So you can only get fear if you allow that person, then if you allow that spirit to actually, by sort of saying that spirit can have hold on me. Because then all of a sudden you will be giving away part of your physical self, or giving away more of your energy, of your aura, because you will be retreating in your aura. And therefore it can become a little bit nauseous. But yeah, you can break it really easy. It's not a problem. It's just that obviously when you break it, it's probably good just to help that spirit to pass over completely and never have to come back.
So if one did feel one had a entity or spirit attached, where would you go? Who would you seek out someone to see that?
I guess
than yourself, obviously, but
there's plenty of people. There's plenty of people who do. Yeah, exactly. It's not the sort of thing. Unfortunately, that side of the world has been so badly mistreated over the last 2,000 years, that it's so so sort of, shone upon. Not shone upon. It's so sort of like, looked upon badly, that we've completely forgotten that side of health, because it creates a lot of mental health issues, physical health issues, and so forth. And working with spirit passers and stuff like that, is probably the best way. If you do your health, your energy hygiene checks, and I've got to do another video on that as well. If you do your energy hygiene checks on a regular basis, you'll know when you're being interfered with very quickly. Yeah.
We've got a new somebody join us tonight called Curiosity Killed. Says she's loving this so
Where's
far.
the cat?
Yeah. Well,
is the cat in the box?
Well, this is the
Schroeder's cat is in the box.
Let me finish the question.
Sorry, yeah, I do apologize.
I felt the presence of my missing cat on my left shoulder. Is that possible?
Oh yeah, that's very possible. Do you not also feel it sometimes around your shins, like as if they're pressing up against you? You know, yeah, you get a lot of that as well, yeah. You know, and I think animals, because they're not really, they don't feature in the Akashic library, so they, you know, the reincarnation thing is a lot tighter, so they don't really leave planet Earth. So yeah, I can definitely get that of contacting spirits. It's very funny though, because they were talking about it on a program called QI in the UK. And they were talking about ghosts, and obviously I was sitting there just getting a little bit frustrated at times. And they didn't come up with a really good point, which was, how come you never see ghost cows walking around the field? You know, and you know, I think it's because of the consciousness, which is different. Because the chakra setup on animals is not the same chakra setup. We've got the same chakras, you know, as much as a cow. I love cows, by the way. I've had cows. I love them dearly. You know, we all only have 5 chakras. Animals only have 5 chakras. And, you know, it's just the setup. So for an animal, and I was looking at Cody's chakras the other day, and they have their throat chakra that's out the front, and they're sort of like their third eye that goes out the back, where we have the throat chakra that comes out the front, and the third eye is bent over, so it actually looks like that. You know, we perceive them as 2 chakras, but they're not. They're only 1 chakra. And I think that's where animals tend to sort of like turn over in this sort of realm, as it were. And you know, and if you go into the Hindi and you know, going back into the Indian cultures about sort of like karmic progression through animals and so forth, it's I think there's got a lot to do with that. It's strange, when I did past life therapy, I had a friend of mine who was a really, really good, who still is a really good past life therapist. And, you know, and they did hours of, because I was very interested in it as well. The most important life I had was when I was a seal. I was eaten by a shark. And when I did it with humans, when I was a human, when I'd lived a life, I had that notion of going from one place to another. When I died as a seal, I didn't go anywhere. I ended up just on a beach, as it were, waiting for the shark, and the shark eventually came out, and we had a great chat and became great friends. But you know, and I learned from that life that life should be fun, so please do enjoy it. That's when I learned it. It was like I learned the idea of the seal. And I said, look, man, even if the shark's going to eat you, you might as well have fun whilst you're doing it. You know.
Only you.
So yeah, yeah, I can definitely get that. You know, occasionally I've had my dogs have passed, come and say hello to me and stuff like that, and I welcome them, but they don't have the same sort of conscious application that humans do. You know, I'm not saying humans are better, but I know some humans that you just kind of go, oh my, giddy up.
So I'm going to ask you the question now: why are animals so attracted to your energy? Because wherever we go, they just, even at that property that's just featured in the video,
yeah,
there was a pack of dogs in that family, and one went and told the other one, and they both came up to talk to you. It was just, and when we were in the New Forest, we were surrounded by donkeys.
I couldn't walk anywhere because there was too many horses and donkeys that came around me.
Why do you attract them? Do they see something? And babies as well. They tend to
babies. That was. Do you remember walking down it? Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Do you think they see something different or sense energy in a
possibly. I don't know. I don't know. I don't like looking at myself, as you well know. You know, I like looking at other people rather than looking at myself.
I like observing.
Yeah, no, it is. I don't know, actually. I don't know why that is. Maybe because, I don't know. It's because I'm always pretty neutral in my energy. I don't really get pulled into extremes. So I think they find that reassuring, maybe. Yeah.
Jane says she thinks she's been a horse in a past life.
Yeah, great. Excellent.
Do you think that's why one might have an affinity with, you know, if you were a horse in a past life, would you have an affinity with horses in this life? Is that why some people like certain animals?
I can totally get that.
And other people like other animals?
Yeah, I can totally get that. Yeah. But yeah, I can totally get that. I don't know. It's not something that I've really investigated. But yeah, I can totally understand that.
We have a question from Suli. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her
So
name.
yeah, I'll be seeing you next week.
Why that bowl was so important to the African spirit?
That's where the
object.
Yeah, the object. So basically, it gives it a point of reference, a physical point of reference that it's like a tracker. That gives it a point that it can attach to, and then therefore it can manifest. And once it can start manifesting, it can use it all the time to manifest.
So you needed that bowl to send that lady over to the other side.
Exactly. I presented the bowl. I'd opened the doorway, and I said to her, "Excuse me, you're going to have to take this with you. The impression that you got on this bowl, because we don't want this to continue." She's lovely, absolutely beautiful, beautiful person, and yeah.
So who asked you whether the rest of the line was being done? Because that was a curiosity I had. You said in the video that they asked you. Who asked you?
Yeah. Yeah. Where was it? That was at the church, wasn't it?
No, that was with the bowl.
Oh, that was with the bowl. Yes, right. Yeah, it's like kind of going. You're not just shutting down this portal. You're going to be doing the rest of the line, aren't you? That's what it was. And I'm kind of I'm doing the rest of the line. And I also think they were kind of going. I think they were hedging their bets a little bit, kind of going, well, if he's just closing the portal, that's fine. We can open the portal elsewhere. That's why that's why it's so important to sort everything out from one crossing point to another. Once you've got one crossing point to another, that is contained. Because at the crossing point, the energy line goes into that's what I used for the vortexes to go into the center of the earth, and etc. Those lines go into that central that sphere, that what I would perceive as being a plasma ball in the center of the earth. And that's how it's connected to the surface, a little bit like a plasma ball. When you put your fingers on it, you get the arc of electricity that goes to it. So then that's when it actually. So if there's one arc that's going there, and then it goes around and it arcs there, and it connects, you've got an internal loop that goes through to the center of the earth, and if you can sort that bit that's on the surface. You won't be infecting all the rest. And that energy does that. That's why you can't control energy. You do not own it. You cannot transfer it to another person. You can't transfer energy to another person. You can transfer vibration and harmonics as it were. But you can't actually physically give or take energy from another person. Simply because if I could then take over the entire universe. So the energy itself has got safeguards in all over the place to stop, one entity or one thing taking control over everything else. So, so that's why it was asking whether I was. That's why I laughed. I think I laughed as well, didn't I? Because I was kind of going cheeky. That's what it came across to me. Nah, you're cheeky. It's like kids kind of going, yeah, we're going to bed. They turn out the light, and that as soon as you go downstairs, they're going to put the light on and get back, in our days, smoking out the window, I guess. But, it's not that these days. Yeah.
Curiosity says thank you. She was sure it was 100% was the cat.
Excellent.
Odelia says hello.
Hello, Odelia.
Vita is saying, I often smell smoke that doesn't exist. I've actually experienced that myself.
Yeah, you do that a lot, don't you?
It first appeared at my saddest points whilst grieving a loved one who transitioned 2 years ago. I'm past the grieving and still smell the smoke sometimes, more than others. Now I smile and say, I know you're here, but I don't know for sure who or what it is.
Do you know, you're making, I can smell that person now. I can really smell them. Okay, look. Who is it, Vita? He's over there, over your side. You try and pull him through. Is it a pipe or cigarette that they used to smoke? I've got like a cap or a chilby or something like that. Very tall person as well.
I don't think she knows.
Do you not know who it is,
Vita?
Vita?
For sure. Andre?
Andre? Is that you, Andre? Who's Andre then? Is he like a member of your family or a friend? Is it your partner?
We talked about when we did the spirit one a few weeks ago.
Did I speak to Andre then?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it wouldn't be Andre then. I don't think it'd be Andre. Is it? It's leaving that. Could you not smell it? No, you can smell it. I could smell it very, very heavily. Yes, tall 6'5". Is that Andre that's tall 6'5" then, is it? Because we dealt with him last time, didn't we? We spoke to him last time, I think. Yeah, your partner. I think we spoke to him last time, didn't we, Vita? Can't smell it anymore. It was very distinct. Do you know what? Sometimes it's like my nan. My nan was really weird. My nan set up a healing centre with a healer back in the 60s called the Sanctuary. And I didn't know anything about it. Yes, I did talk to Andre last time. That's maybe why he's not presenting. Sometimes I can send a message through, like an email in a way. That's what I talk about when sometimes spirits will come back and they'll be like grey out like a ghost.
That's what I meant about the essence, that you brought a lot of.
That's possibly what you can get, yeah. So, yeah, and the thing is, the person wasn't, that's what I'm saying, he may be with you because he wasn't presenting, but then that could well be Andre. But he was presenting as someone quite high, maybe even with a trilby hat or a flat cap or something like that. I don't know. But, it seems to be that sort of way. But, very jovial person, But my nan, let me get back to my nan, she started up this healing place called the Sanctuary. And I started up my healing centre and everything like that. I started up my healing school in France, in the Pyrenees, and it was absolutely brilliant. And I'd set all this up, and I've been doing healing for years and years and years. And then, out the blue, my dad turns around to me and says, "Oh, it's weird, your nan set up a healing centre." I'm kind of, why are you telling me now? I've already, why didn't you tell me all this stuff beforehand? And I was sitting with my kids in the cars, and my kids, she had a very particular laugh. My kids had never met her, started laughing like that. And so it's like you get these messages come through sort of her, because I look at them as your biggest supporters, and they sort of like, they're encouraging you more than anything else. And I took that laughter as like my nan just sort of kind of going, "Oh, Tom, how you doing?" Just sort of like saying hello, doing well, go for it, sort of thing.
Glenn's got a question.
Hello, Glenn. Yes.
Can a crystal or sage smoke discourage a negative spirit from your property? Just curious about the high vibration of crystals and the clearing away of some unwanted spirits. Thanks, Tom.
I don't know. I don't have any crystals on me. I don't wear any crystals. I think this is my own personal point of view, and I know how powerful crystals are. I totally get it, totally understand it, but I think crystals are better left in the earth where they were buried, because the earth knows how to use those crystals properly. We're just playing with them. If we really knew how to unlock the real power of crystals, we would be dangerous as a species. I've never used that as a technique. I don't think, personally, I think sage helps to clear a space, but not eternally. So you can clear a space with it, but at the same time, it wouldn't resolve the problem. I prefer to get in there and kind of go, right, what are you doing here, spirit? You shouldn't be here, and dealing with them in that sort of sense. It's like I do a lot of geomancy sort of work, and I encourage people to sort of like, use their house and their garden in a way of like creating their own crystal by planting this here and there and everything like that to try and, bring out a lot of things, bring out a certain energy and the whole sort of thing. But like, the idea of a single crystal protecting you from a mountain of, say, like granite on one side is just, I think you may be asking a little bit too much of the crystals. There's a lot to be said for, which we should do a thing about, which is the placebo effect as well. which we can really sort of like encourage ourselves and stuff like that.
Adelia said when
Vita, thanking you as well. Yeah.
When my mom died, I could smell Kentucky Fried Chicken. She used to buy it every Friday night for dinner for my family when we were young kids.
Really? Wow, that's fantastic. That's really good. Does that make you feel good when you smell it? I hope so. I hope so. Did you have a good relationship? I hope you had a good relationship with your mum. Was it? Was her mum? Was it? Yeah. I hope you had a good relationship with your mum and stuff like that. And I hope it makes you feel good, and it makes you, you know, obviously it's a bit nostalgic. And when someone passes over, you can, you know, it can be, you know, the mourning process, mourning as in the day after, can be a whole sort of like, it can take time. And, you know, sometimes it could be, you know, your mum just sort of kind of going, you know, do you remember those good nights when we used to have like Kentucky Fried Chicken? And that's what she could be sort of saying to you more than anything else, sort of saying, who did it come from? Adelia. Adelia, it could be sort of saying, do you remember that, Adelia? Didn't we have great fun? Did you enjoy it? I hope you had fun with all the other people that are still here on this planet. That's what she could be saying and stuff like that, you know, which could be really nice. I'm trying to see when I get a smell of Kentucky Fried Chicken. We had chicken tonight, so I couldn't really sort of say that. But yeah, yeah. No, I think, you know, that could well be it. A lot of people get that sort of thing, you know, a lot of sort of feeling those sort of things. Yeah.
What was the most scary spirit you've ever met?
No. I think it was only scary because that wasn't scary. Because I know who I am.
Do you think when you first started doing this work, do you think you were more, I would never say you were fearful about anything, but do you think you ever felt less, I don't know, more vulnerable at any point? Because most people do feel a little bit vulnerable.
Of course.
Knowing what vulnerability, you know now,
yeah.
Obviously it's different, but for anybody who thinks they're dealing with a spirit, or you do say you shouldn't worry that they don't have the physical body, but I'm just curious, have you ever felt unguarded?
No, I had to learn the hard way about a lot of things. When I opened up to all of this, I must have been, really, I started opening up when I was sort of like 16, 17. I'd already been doing stuff before, but I didn't even realise it. And when you don't realise it, actually, it's a lot easier. Once you start becoming conscious of it, all of a sudden you're very conscious about doing it correctly and everything like that. And I've encountered some spirits at the time when I was younger they were really hectic, yeah, and really quite scary. But then that's part and parcel of the technique. So if they scare you, all of a sudden they've got a control on you. That's why you should never be scared about it, because they can't actually really do anything because they don't have a physical body. And that's what I was taught very early on through Shiva, how to use energy. So just doing with my, you know, playing with the energy where no one can touch you if you don't want it to be touched. And, you know, yeah, no, I don't think I've ever been really scared, unfortunately. Maybe I should be. Or maybe I should have been, but I don't think I've ever really been scared. I felt challenged at times. It was a really weird thing. There was oh blimey, that was ages ago. About 28 years ago, I think. I had this guy who I used to go dowsing with. He was a really good dowser, old guy. And it was like Obi-Wan. You know when Obi-Wan was having the fight with Darth Vader on the Death Star and Luke is escaping? I was Luke and kind of looking there, and I was watching this guy, this guy I used to go dowsing with, having a conflict, an energy conflict with some other entity. And, you know, it was sort of saying, you've got to choose one side or the other. And I was always, and I've always put myself in a position, sort of saying, unless that person is engaged with me, I'm not going to fight anybody else's fight. So I take a neutral position each time. And I realised that you can get knocked out through energy. You can get taken out, as it were. You know.
Got a couple of questions here.
Yeah.
Firstly, Vita, and she said only if this is allowed, but could you ask?
Get that smoke again, Vita. You've got to stop it.
This is different. This is different.
I hope so.
Would you ask Diamond if she transitioned okay? Her mum and Auntie Carol would love to know. I attended her funeral last year in support of her family, but we
Diamond,
never
so
met.
was.
Yeah, her name was Diamond. Her mum and her Auntie Carol
Who's
would love to know.
Okay.
If she transitioned okay.
Is she with her auntie? Is she with them at the moment? The Auntie Carol and that.
No, I don't know.
Wait for her to answer. She'll probably answer in a minute. Vita had no. She's not part of your family, is that right?
No, she'd never met her.
No.
So this is on a. I don't know if you can connect without not connecting through.
It's okay. Vita, could you just? This is a bit like the bowl. Okay, so I want to, Vita, you're going to have to think about those. Excuse me, those two people whose.
She was only 28 years old, so it's this Diamond was 28 years old, and her mum and her Auntie Carol would love to know if she transitioned okay.
Yeah.
So she was 28.
Yeah. She's there now. Did you hear it click then?
No, I was concentrating.
You were concentrating on there. Yeah. What happened to her? What happened to you? Is it like what happened? Some sort of is it head trauma? What happened? What happened to her? Vita. Sorry, I can't really.
While we're waiting for that,
yeah.
Durbanville's come with a question.
Oh yeah, Durbanville.
We were talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
Would intense grief hinder a spirit's progress?
Yeah.
My friend lost her children in a car accident and can't get over it, and is quite ill. Hope I've worded this properly.
Yeah, you have. You have. Durban. A joy to you, of course. That's a really, when you're dealing with, because I help a lot of people, I see a lot of people come and go and stuff like that, and and I know people that I've been insuring the last part of their lives, so I know the family and I know what it's like afterwards and everything like that, and it's really quite difficult anyway in general, but when it's your own child, nothing makes sense because it's not in the natural order of things, and it's a really hard. If there was the hardest karmic path to follow, I think that would be it. So, what happened to her, Vita, man? What happened to her? I'm getting head trauma or some sort of thing, maybe an accident or something like that. But no, this was the kids. The kids. What happened to the kids? They died in an accident.
In a car accident.
Car accident. Sorry, that's why I like to do one thing at a time. But when did it happen?
I haven't got time on
that. It happened. So did it happen over a year ago?
The funeral happened last year.
Right. Okay. So it was over a year ago. It was just around about a year, I think, last summer or something like that. Is that right? Two kids, is that right? There was two kids. They lost both.
Her children.
I've got one that's having problems transitioning. That's had problems transitioning. The other one, no. I think there was one that was really super sensitive and the other one wasn't, and sort of understood the transition between the two. Doesn't want to leave because it doesn't want to leave the parent, as it were, and stuff like that. So there's a real sort of, this is replying to Durban's question as well. It's like, sometimes the grief can stop the spirit from moving on, and also the grief can stop the spirit can stop moving on because of the grief of the other. But Do you know what I mean? So yeah, you can hold someone back, and also spirits may not want to go because they don't want to leave them either and stuff like that. But
there were 4 children.
4 children, 2 years to 13 years,
20 years ago.
20 years ago. So it's a long time ago, Dan. 4 children, was it? Yeah, maybe I've got 2. I've definitely got 2 there. I think the 2-year-old quite happily went, because it didn't really, it was still quite neutral in a way, and probably the transition was a lot easier. What actually happened? That's like, anyway, it's it seems like was it an accident and stuff like that? Is that, am I getting that right?
It was a car accident.
Yeah, it was a car accident, was it?
The children. Yes.
Oh yeah, for the children, yeah, it was a car accident. So yeah, there's 2 that's gone AWOL. Where are they? Yeah, no twins involved. It was there 2 that was really close together. They were born close together. Those 2 there seems to have gone all right. The 2-year-old seems to have gone. There just seems to be one that could well be the 20-year-old or something like that that's hanging around. I need to know what they're. Do you know their name? Come on then. There you go. It's all right, man. It's all right. I've just got that one sitting there. Excuse me. 2 seconds. Take your pew. Take your pew. Yeah. It's all right. Don't worry, man. There's nothing you can do. It's okay. I think the parents feel a little bit of responsibility, don't they? That's what I'm getting. And doesn't want them to take responsibility and trying to rectify that. It's okay, don't worry about it. We'll get that sorted, all right, man? Okay, well, look, hang on a second. Let me just open that up. Right, can you see that? Lovely. Okay, yeah, cool, man. Okay, no worries yet. See you later. I won't, but yeah. You just keep following. Okay, man. Ciao for now. The parents still with us. Yeah, the parents still with us, Durban. Sorry. The parents still with us. It's they got us, she was driving.
And blinded by the sun.
She's got to stop blaming herself, right? It's all right. Life isn't always smooth, calm river, stream, and it's not anybody's fault. And if she had lost her life, then she would want her kids to live a full life, and I think her kids just would like her to live a full life. And don't, I don't want to say worry about it, because obviously you will do, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, she's got to stop blaming herself. It's not that simple. Everyone's got their own path to lead and everything like that. And, it's, a lot of love to her, really. A lot of love to her. Just tell her from my side, that she's got to stop blaming herself. There's reasons for some things that we'll never understand until we get up top. So, only the mother knew, but she can't get over it. Only the mother now, but she can't get over it. I can understand that. And it's probably going to be very difficult to convince her any other way than that, So, yeah, but do send her love, give her a big hug, and sort of kind of say, every time she smiles, they smile. Every time she cries, they cry. If she can understand that, then hopefully she'll start smiling about certain things in life. And that would be nice for everyone concerned. I think that'd be really good. Really quite heavy for her. Sorry, man. Got to stay focused. Let me just get. I've got to find that neutral point there because I'm risking to get too emotionally involved in the situation. Okay, so whoever you are, stop messing around. Start smiling a bit. Every time you smile, your kids will smile with you. Okay.
Can we?
All right. Yeah, no, it's not.
Can we step back to Diamond?
Diamonds, yes.
Because Vita said that it was indeed a head wound. You just said
that.
Okay,
yeah. Okay.
So that you obviously did connect them.
Yeah.
So has she transitioned?
Yeah, I think so. I did see her earlier on, didn't I? She was there. Yes, I think she's transitioned. She's very active. Yeah, I think she's transitioned. You know your way up? You know your way up? You all right? Okay. Just wanna. You know your way. All right. Okay. No worries then. So there's no point. You just do the circuit. Yeah. Okay. No, she's all right. She's transitioned. She's okay. She's okay.
She died on the 28th of May last year.
Well, and 28th of May. Yeah, about a year ago. Yeah. So yeah. She likes the idea of don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy. She's quite a cheeky monkey, Diamond. She's quite a lovely spirit, you know. And yeah, it's never easy saying goodbye to a spirit, and especially she was quite young as well, wasn't she? Yeah, 28. So you know. Yeah, that's all right, man. Pleasure, man. Absolute pleasure. You know, give everybody a big hug when you see them. And I'll be over for a cup of tea at some point.
Okay, the plant lady says that's good to know you work with the light and don't promote the soul trap, Tom. What do you think of that new idea being pushed?
Soul track? What's that?
Soul trap.
Soul trap? What's a soul trap? What's a soul trap? Can you give us a bit more detail on that, plant lady?
Vita said that she did enjoy life full of energy.
Yeah. Good. She said really. Yeah. She was up. She, fit into life fully. Good on her. Well done. Glad she lived on this. It probably brought a lot of love to everybody. But soul trap. What's the soul trap all about then? Oh, is it a bit like Ghostbusters where they try and trap them in something? I don't know. Is that what they do? That would be a bit weird, wouldn't it? Why would you do that? It's like I don't understand that. Why would you try to? I can imagine.
When did you first know that you could take people to the light? As we were talking about the light.
Well, that's because
Did it come from the near-death experience? Did you just recognise that as something?
No, that came from when I met Hitler.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't know what to do with him. And this is the soul trap thing. I put him in a tree, didn't I?
Yes.
Because I didn't know what to do with him. I was, 19, I think, at the time. I was very young. No, I was 20. I met Hitler. So that was back in the long time ago, before internet ever existed. And he told me that he died in South America because he was really hectic. And I was working in the garden centre and I was potting these trees, repotting these trees, and this spirit was just really hounding me. And I was just like, just leave it alone, leave me alone. What's your problem? I'm just doing trees, man. And so in the end, I just kind of go, okay, what's your name and everything like that. And he said he was Hitler, and I was kind of going, oh, what are you doing here? You died ages ago. He said, no, I didn't die too long ago. I died in South America, in Argentina. And I didn't know what to do with him. So I sort of like, as I was planting this tree, it was it was quite, it will be now quite a big tree, but because it was like 30 odd years ago. But you know, and I was sort of saying, come and have a look at this, come and look at this, and just worked him into the tree. So because I didn't know what to do with him at the time, I didn't have the training yet. I never really had the experience, and so I put him in the tree, thinking, well, birds can shit on him, but at the same time, birds can make nests in him, so he can see both sides of life, and it'd be cool, a bit like a genie in a lamp, I guess. But the moment I discovered by seeing auras really fully on and noticing this like recycling bin here, like it's like so that's when that's when I'd open up I thought when after that I tried it with spirits, and I kind of went, okay, I'm not sure how to open up the connection to the other side in order to get this spirit across. I didn't know. I must have been, it was a couple of years afterwards, so I was about sort of like 22, 23 maybe at that stage. This might have been after my near-death experience, because I was starting to see a lot more in the way of auras and stuff like that. So I'd open up this recycling bin, and it created this bridge of light, as it were. And the recycling bin it's like a chair. It's like a circle that when you open it, it becomes like a chair that they sit in. And when they're sitting in it, they're looking directly down at the light. And they get, as I say, they're like moths to a lamppost at that stage there. And I didn't really have to do that much, just make sure everyone's okay, you okay, good, ready to rock and roll, let's go. So, the entrapment, that sounds a bit weird. I wouldn't get involved in that if I was you.
So the plant lady is explaining the soul trap.
Okay.
It's a new trend. Howdy Miskowski, Tony says, are a couple of YouTubers promoting to exit the matrix on death, go away from the light.
If you've seen that, you can't exit the matrix like that. By the way, it's not as easy as that. Not as easy as that at all. I think I wouldn't listen to that if I was you. I'm not sure these people know what they're on about. If you listen to, I did that video on what's the difference between the soul and the spirit, and when you die, your other spirits, which are your guides, they come circling around you so quickly that it's not actually the light. They're actually creating that portal between you and the Akashic library, so then you go up in that light towards it. And I don't think you'll be able to I don't think you'll be able to resist it. Well, you can resist it, but it doesn't matter what you've lived in life, regardless of whether you think someone's good or bad. Everyone goes to the same place. So there's no real heaven and hell in a way. Hell for someone could be heaven for another person, and heaven for one other person could be hell for another. And that's how it works. It doesn't really exist at two different places. Everybody's in the same place, because everybody needs to be there for the complete understanding of the beauties and the horror of being a human being. So soul trapping and stuff like that. Okay, so this matrix thing. Okay, so I said I'm not coming back. This is my last incarnation. I'm not coming back here again. I'm moving on to somewhere else. And there's a reason for that for me. So I'm escaping this returning reincarnation loop. I'm not escaping it, because I'm happily, I want to walk away from it. And we're in this position at the moment. This is what the transition is about. Some spirits are going to stay here and reincarnate on this planet. Other spirits are going to go back to the beginning and redo all the coursework. And other spirits are going to be moving on to somewhere completely different. So, it's it doesn't matter where you go in the universe, you're never going to escape the matrix. Not the nature matrix. There is a human matrix as well, which is a bit of a prison sort of thing, but it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So, yeah, I would have big issues with just the mechanics and the physics of how that works. So, yeah, I have big issues. I don't really know much about it, so I can't really, but just of the first hearing sounds a bit dodgy to me. Sounds a good way of clickbait of getting viewers, I think, because that's what YouTube works on, doesn't it? Really, let's be honest. So it's a bit clickbaity, I think, more than anything else possible. So yeah, but yeah, spirits are we're all amazing things. Was that good? Do you like that?
Yeah. Said, thanks, never sat with me.
Oh yeah. Oh, you are plant lady. Understand it. You know what I mean? The nature matrix. The nature matrix, as much as it is a matrix, it's a non-judgmental, expansive matrix or creative matrix, which has a side of it of destruction as well, because you can't create without destroying. But human matrix or electronic matrix, where which is all to do with like the film The Matrix and stuff like that.
I've missed a question.
You missed a question. Tanya's missed a question. Why
do apologise.
You're going to be in trouble. You are
in big trouble. Christine earlier
said,
I think we would. Yeah. Anyway, she said, "Hi Tom. What about negative or low vibrational entity attachments? What would you recommend if you feel like these are visiting you in your sleep and attached to your energy?"
Okay. Well, I'd find out where they're coming from to start with, personally. Do you have issues in the house? Do you have issues in the place where you're living, in the environment where you're living, and so forth? And yeah, you can get. It's a very cowardly way for entities to sort of have a sensation that they're existing and stuff like that. So, first things first, if you clean your own space, your own energy and stuff like that on a regular basis, they will find it a lot more difficult to come in and to attach to you. And secondly, if you if there is issues within your, like on those videos, so if there are issues within your village or town or whatever, or where you're living and stuff like that, or it could be down to, as we saw early on, like an object and stuff like that can be attracting them. So there's a bit of an investigation that needs to sort of happen in order to find the origins of it. And then once you get the origins, you can just unplug it. They won't be able to touch you again.
We've got another question from Chrissy G. I think she commented.
Chrissy G?
Yes. I hear that childhood trauma can create attached entities that keep you in a low vibration and hinder your spiritual energetic growth.
Yes and no. Yes, they can. I think yes, traumas can do that. But we did do a video on this, haven't we? And it's on our channel about how traumas can affect your life in a rhythmical sort of fashion. And let's say if you had a major trauma when you were a child, and that could be through abuse, be it through alcohol violence or through sort of like physical abuse to someone. What it does is it's like an illness, and it passes it on like a magnet or a tracker on your aura, and then you tend to attract people, or you tend to often people who, like females who have been in violent relationships, tend to then or have a parent that's been violent to them, tend to end up in a violent relationship because they pull those people into your life. And if you're pulling those people into your life, it's going to be incredibly difficult for you to do a sort of like spiritual path and stuff like that. And clearing out traumas, especially at the moment, is really important. Getting yourself as clean as possible, so then you're no longer, because it becomes a comfort zone. It's what you understand. We're only fearful when we don't understand something. Once we understand it, there's no need to be fearful about it. So that's why I spent ages trying to understand energy of what I was seeing and stuff like that. Simply because understanding what I'm actually physically seeing before me, all of a sudden I kind of go, oh, in that case I know how it works. It's like when you get on a bicycle, you're going to be really scared. for the first time you ever get on the bicycle because you don't want to fall off. And but once you know how to learn to ride a bicycle, it's actually great fun. You're not scared at all, you know. So it's a bit like that. So yeah, I can totally get that. I can totally get that it's like attracts spirits and stuff like that, and you know, and the trauma then can create that sort of thing. You know, it's a bit of a chicken and an egg sort of scenario, but it's actually most abuse is born out of, you know, hurt people. If you must have heard that before, and that's what the illness is. So males tend to be a lot more of a transmitter of that illness, and females can be carrier. So those carriers, you know, carriers can meet people who are infected, and then they can then infect another young person, and then the whole thing continues on. And so, you know, and that's why we get a lot of that. So yeah, I think it can affect you. We deal with that a lot, the traumas and the healing and stuff like that.
Christine has responded, and this was the lady that was asking about whether entities can attach during your sleep, attach your energy.
Right. Okay.
She said, "I live in a boat, and it only started a year ago. A new boat. Not sure if it was my own energy that attracted it, as I have been going on an emotional roller coaster." Your answer.
What's the name?
Went into a property or a boat or something. If you were, did that happen?
That you can take a spirit with you.
Or if there was a spirit, or if it was a new boat. Then
you on a canal boat?
Don't start.
You're on a canal boat. I'm a Capricorn, so I love canal boats.
She's asking any recommendations for how to help cleanse our energy to help release the energy.
Okay. Where are you, Christine? In the world. You don't have to sort of kind of say I'm at number 12 Acacia Drive.
Or on a canal.
Are you on a canal boat? Yeah. No. Yes, she's on a canal boat. Oh, what a shame. Love canal boats. Are you in the UK?
I think she might have said yes to.
Oh, you might have said yes, so you are in the UK.
Yes, on a canal boat in Scotland.
On Scotland? Wow. Now that's hard going there. You know what I mean? I'm a southern softie. Okay, so you're out in Scotland. So if you just relax, Christine, just sit down, relax, just take it easy. And if it's okay with you, is it okay that I look at your energy and stuff like that? I just want to make sure it's okay with you. I don't want to sort of like. Okay. Okay, so there's two things going on. Is that okay? Is that okay for I'm taking it as yes. I'm taking it as yes. Okay, so let's just have a look at your aura. So there we got your aura there. So just going up on your aura there. There I'm getting the blockage on that side, but I'm also getting something on this side. You know, I don't want to get personal, you know, because obviously we're live on YouTube and stuff like that. But did you have difficulties in your youth? Difficulties in your youth with any sort of like maybe members of family and stuff like that? Did you have problems with that? I haven't seen the yes come back. I saw the yes come back. I think that was on something else. Yeah. No, it wasn't on that question there. Just outside Glasgow. In is it Kinlochie? No. I'm actually, it's really far away, and I can't always say it's really far away. It's just incredibly small for me to see. But you know, I'll say yes. Had a breakdown when I was a teenager. Okay. So we're just going to clear off a couple of things here. It'd be nice if we actually, you know, if we happened to be in the same place to actually do a full-on sort of session here. Okay, so I'm just first things first. I want to clear off that side on your, or just sit down, relax, and allow that to come off. Just take this 2, this 3, and get a shot of that. got a shot of that and just close the door after it. There is that sort of thing when you're a teenager, sort of situation going on. I prefer to do that when in a session because I don't want to cause. I don't want you to. You need to know what's going on when we do this sort of thing, so you don't go. I don't want to create. Basically, when I take that off, you're going to go back to when you're being a teenager, and you're going to live being a teenager right up to when you were 24, and explore the idea of being a child with child's eyes, and so you can rediscover the idea of who am I, what do I like, what do I don't like, everything like that. You're going to reassess a lot of things, if we take that off, anyway, we'll take it off. If you have problems, give us a shout. I think that's, this is how it's going to have to work on YouTube. So it's just sort of, I just want to find out whether that actually comes from, was the breakdown when you were a teenager, I don't want to get too personal, but was that breakdown when you were a teenager concerned with someone else? Did you have to, was it due to someone else, or was it just intoxication from your own side and stuff like that? Yeah, I'll wait for you to tell me. Okay. I just want to see if that actually belongs, that, what do they call it before? Not like the, yeah, like a seal. Yeah, a magnet. That's what I call it. So.
A mixture of things.
Okay, a mixture of things. I'll tell you what, look, we're going to get a shot of it for the next year, because basically what happens is when you're a child, when you're young and you have a major trauma, you end up shutting down for the entire life. So there's aspects of your life that you never really truly investigate because of that sort of shutting down aspect. So what we're going to do is we're going to open that up. So you've got to take it easy for the next year. You're going to do stupid things like a kid, but with the sense of an adult, so you don't repeat the same trauma, and you can rediscover, kind of going, do you know what, actually I really like that, or actually, do you know what, I don't like that, and it will allow you to then reopen up and explore life and become fully engaged with life. Not that I'm sure you are fully engaged with life, but you'll know what I mean. You'll know what I mean. In a year's time, all of a sudden you're kind of going, okay, now we're playing for real, sort of scenario. So I just need to get rid of that. I think there's someone connected to it, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. We're just going to put it on, pass it on. Thank you for all your help. Thank you. Okay, there you go, Christine. Okay, so enjoy yourself being a kid again, and then in a year's time you're going to have this moment when you're going to realise, kind of going, okay, now I know. So you can do other things. Yeah.
Okay. Couple more.
Got a couple more.
And then we're running out of time a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's time, by the way? Oh, okay. We've been going for ages. Going for an hour and a half. Why are we?
I just don't know when to stop.
You don't see the time going past, do you? It's terrible, isn't it? You know what I mean?
So I've got a quick one here from Christine. Says, thank you, Tom. Really appreciate your help.
Pleasure, my love.
Odelia said earlier, our spirit guides must have a predictive shield. I think protective shield, so no harm will come to us when we pass away, keeping us safe from bad spirits. Is that true? When the spirits take
the guides?
The guides. Do they protect you on the way up, or?
Well, I'll give you my experience, because when I had my near-death experience, that's what they did to me. They sort of like encircled, going so quickly that it became like a light. So, but no, I don't believe in protection. The problem with protection is you end up imprisoning yourself, and the last thing you want to do is imprison yourself. And I don't think your guides will imprison you. I think if what my experience was that as the guide sort of like encircled me and they brought my spirit out of my body, that energy is so strong that that nothing bad can happen to you. It's so strong, and like the difficulty becomes for spirits is that you have like this like 4-week period, 28 days, like a lunar cycle. It's like a way of just tying up the loose ends, say goodbye to family and everything like that before you actually go for good. But first of all, you learn the route to get up there. And once you know the route to go up and down, then you can come back and sort of like say goodbye to everyone over a 4-week period. So if I meet, say, like if I've got someone who comes and sees me and they've had someone who's passed away like only 2 weeks ago and they turn up, I can't actually send them over to the other side because there is rules and regulations to all of this sort of stuff. And if they're still within the 28 days, they've got every right to be here. Once they go past the 28 days, in theory, you've got no right to be here as a spirit, and I will send you on. And that's why I call myself an administrator. I'm not a judge, I'm just administrating. And it's all for the good, for the greater, for the good of other people and for the good for spirit and everything like that. So, yeah.
This is a wonderful show.
Oh, thank you very much. So life is great, isn't it? When you get involved and you start exploring and asking questions, because no one, I've been in. The only thing I have over, I'm no better than anyone else, really. I say that's really me, not better than no, but I mean like, the only thing I've been blessed, really, in this life that I've spent. I've worked, I've done lots of different jobs, but I've always made sure that I've got a good number of days in the week that I can explore energy. And I've just been blessed with the time to do a lot of exploration. And I love doing exploration. I'm a researcher in that sense. So, it's always good. We're always learning. I'm always learning as well.
Great question here.
Okay, who's that from?
Chrissy G again.
Chrissy G.
Here in Australia. The First Nation people have what they call song lines. Are these the
Song
same?
lines? So this is the Aboriginal song lines.
Are these the same as ley lines?
No.
The belief is that Uluru is Earth's heart chakra.
No. It's definitely the solar plexus. You look at Uluru, right? So on one side you've got is it Orgas, and then which is a rock, and then it goes down into, and there's one main rock and everything like that, and then it goes down and it goes like a tube of rock that goes all the way along, and then there's another grouping of rocks which is very much more broken up rocks, which look like the solar plexus. It looks like a sunshine, no, but it also looks like the Sydney Opera House, and that is it's the solar plexus of the Earth, because it's the southern hemisphere as well, because that's where all the energy comes in, and the solar plexus needs to be there to be strong. The heart chakra is in the UK at the moment, and they do change around. But for me, and I could show you you go on any of my videos when I'm, if you go on in the energy updates, if you go to the playlist and you look at energy updates, you will see my chakra map of the world. And I think personally for me, the solar plexus is in August. I can't even get it in. I am so sorry.
Are song lines the same as ley lines?
No. Okay, so song lines were invented. Okay, so So if you're dowsing and you want to find your way from one place to another, I followed a ley line, followed an energy line from one crossing point to another crossing point, and there was like 10 miles between the two. And I was literally ended up walking through people's gardens, kind of walking through with dowsing myself saying, hi, this is in France, so the gardens, and it was in the mountains, so the gardens were pretty big. And they just sort of sitting there kind of going, hi, what's this bloke doing in that garden? He's just gone straight through. And song lines were created because it was much easier to teach a song saying, okay, so you go down the road and you meet that yew tree. You find the yew tree and then you follow the stream. And it made a song. So you made a song. I sang that really badly, didn't I? You know what I mean? Give me a bit of time. I could have come up with a great one. But they should tell you that they should teach you a song so you could learn from one place to another, because in the bush it's very difficult to no real signposts. And in the in North America, in the Native Americans over there in North America, they used to break trees, didn't they? To, like, as a signpost that was saying this is the way to go. So you'd find trees that have been broken off in a particular way. That's still living, but it's been broken. So it gives things the way you're going. But as far as the song lines were, and I did investigations on this when I was investigating the Chakra map, and that was like nearly 30 years ago. And I was talking to some Aboriginal about the song lines, and that's what he was explaining to me. And I think that's pretty. I think that's what it pretty much is, song lines. But then again, it could be that they're explaining the root of the energy line, and I can well understand that, because Aboriginals, although part of their Akashic library is leaving this plane at the moment, we're absolutely, amazing sort of people and stuff like that. So,
a couple of questions on that you've raised this now. Why do
KN is there?
KN and
okay.
Glenn are both
and Glenn
saying about why do Capricorns like being on water or around water?
Well, because they're half goat, half fish. So basically, Capricorn, the age of Capricorn, symbolises the moment when life came from the water to the land. And then, so that was that. And then the next age after Capricorn, we had the age of Sagittarius, which is half horse, half human with an arrow. And that was the moment when life went from the land to the sky. So Capricorn, it's really weird. Capricorns, they're also a full sign like Sagittarius as well. So if we're talking Astroflower here, okay, so they've actually got more water in them than they do actually have earth. And that is why they call them the water goat and so forth. And Pan as well, is associated with Capricorn. And it's like Capricorn, they love being up the mountain. And when they get up the mountain, they sit down at the beautiful part of the mountain. They kind of go, do you know, I'd love to be by the beach. And when they get down to the beach, they kind of go, I'd love to be on the mountain. But they do have this affiliation with water. Yeah, there is no doubt about it. They have a real good affiliation with water. So yeah, Capricorns definitely.
Thank you.
That's all right. Yeah. That came from KN, did it?
Yeah, KN and Glenn.
And Glenn as well. Look at that. This is it, Capricorns. We do, though, don't we? This is it. I'm a Capricorn. That's when someone said live in a barge. You know what I mean? That's very Capricorn activity, that. Because you're on sort of land, but you're on sort of water as well. And you go between the two. And Capricorn and Sagittarius are the only two signs that are made up of two different things, completely different things. And they are the Mongol versions of the sign.
Hybrid. I think hybrid's a more polite name.
Really?
Yeah.
I think as a Capricorn, I wouldn't mind being a Mongol. Wouldn't bother me.
Kayan said there's always an underground stream up where I live in the mountains.
Wow, brilliant. Where are you, Kayan? Where are you? Are you over in the States, over in the Rockies or something like that? But yeah, underground waters. I'm always dowsing for water. Who was that? It's fish. Was it Fishtail? Asked that question. How differentiate between water and energy lines? And it's actually reasonably quite easy to do, because it's all to do with the frequency that you put into it. Lynn, as a Capricorn, I feel at home by a river just as much as when I'm admiring a mountain. Yeah, Capricorns are like that. They really are. You know. Are you in Queensland, Australia? Are you? Oh, was that just? Did you ask about the song lines? Was that okay?
No, that was Chrissy.
Oh, that was Chrissy. It was someone else. Sorry. Okay, so you're in the mountains there. Yeah, underwater. Do you know what? There's more water under the surface of the earth than there is in the oceans, in all the seas. There's more water in the ground. That's because that's all to do with the magnetic field. So because water is highly electrically charged, and it's the glue that keeps everything together. So yeah, mountain streams, and there's always water under the streams. Yeah, you know. So yeah, definitely. Yeah. So what is it? What was that? I'm spot on about something.
Glenn says you're spot on. The Malvern Hills are close to me, and I love to be up there.
Oh
then
yeah.
I wish to be.
You up in America, are you, Glenn?
Cool off.
Okay.
No, Glenn's not in America.
No. Where's the Malvern Hills then?
That's north. Well, middle north. I don't know.
In the north. It's in the UK. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, it was in the UK. Blimey.
Oh, we've got two Queenslanders there, Chrissy
and
Kayan.
Oh, there you go. I'll tell you what, we've got to get out that way.
That's why springs come from the mountains, Kayan says.
Yeah.
Maybe they're Capricorn Mountains.
Yeah, maybe they're Capricorn Mountains. Yeah, you can get springs right by the beach. You can do. It's just the way the pressure in the water. Water can go upwards under the ground. It can go up, it can go down, it can go to the right, to the left. It doesn't obey the same physics. That's only because it's been forced down, sort of crevices and stuff like that.
Kim's now saying, I heard someone say Capricorn is a goat, standing for greatest of all time. I'm not going to promote that with Tom because he already thinks he's
a goat.
Goat. Have you ever heard that expression?
Oh, you're the goat. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Now let's see.
Yeah, but that comes because the goat comes from the devil thing, doesn't it?
I don't know. Yeah. Worcestershire. I can't say that.
You're Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. Yeah, near Worcester.
Okay. Yeah. It's what's the river down there? The River Wye? Is it Wye? No. I went down there. Lovely part of the world.
Says you do so need to come for a visit.
Yeah, I'm trying to. My son's already out there. He's been out in Brisbane. He's now wandered off to Bali and stuff like that. Young man he is. He's only 21, bless him.
Kayan says, I'm 500 metres above sea level in the land of the bird tribes, as so called by the original custodians.
Okay, that's peachy. It's a good height to be at, Kayan, for the future, mate. It's a very good height to be at. Oh, blessings to you. Okay. Who's from Staffordshire? Ruthie Reese is from Staffordshire. There you go. Yeah. Well, we will be doing things in the UK as well. The moment we're able to travel, if there's enough people, we'll travel anyway. We love it. But we'll definitely be doing some stuff in the UK. But 500 metres is a great place to be. And if I don't get over to Australia before all the changes, do send my love to everybody over there. Everyone from the past and the future. Okay? That'd be great if you could.
Right. 11.
It's no accident. Exactly, my friend. It's no accident. Right. Okay. Yeah. I think we're going to have to knock it on the head because it is 11:15. We've been going for an hour and 45 minutes now. And I could literally do this all day long because I love this sort of thing. We're going to open up a cafe, aren't we? When we can afford to, yeah. If we can afford to, yeah.
Final question. Chrissy G saying, what the moon being close to Antares have on Scorpios and all in general? Over to you on that one.
What the moon being
close to Antares.
Antares, yeah. What is Antares? Have on Scorpios and all in general. Not sure what is Antares. What's that? Have you ever heard of that? I haven't heard of Antares. I haven't even heard of it. I'm not sure what. Can you give me a bit more background information what that actually means about the moon? I'm not sure I can. Glenn, thank you. Thank everybody for being here as well. It's been a fantastic. It's always a great evening. We always find answers together, don't we? I'm sure we do. It's always good fun trying to find the answers and everything like that. And it's always an absolute joy being with everyone. Antares is a star in the Scorpius constellation. Well, it's not. So it sits in alignment to that. Is that what you're sort of saying? But it moves around. So is it there at the moment? I wouldn't have thought so. At the moment, it would be in Sagittarius. I would have thought it should be. It's a fixed star, I think. I'll find out about it and sort of like it's a fixed star. This is things in Scorpius. Now, I'd have to look into that actually, to be honest. And that's an astrology sort of thing going on. What the information I'm getting, and you might be able to check me if I'm wrong here, because I'm not an astrologer. I'm not. I'm a healer. I'm an energy guy. That's what I am. It's the deep waters, or emotionally deep-seated sense of purity that drives Scorpios. As an effect, as a general thing of what I'm getting, of the information that I'm getting, is like it serves as a sort of aspect of like a moral compass, as an energy that helps us to guide through a moral compass. I think that's what I'm. You check it out and you tell me if I'm wrong. Lol. All good, mate. Okay. So this is Chrissy. Just saying my mind. What?
Mind babble at you.
Okay. You phoned me a mind babble at you. A babble at me.
Be a good Aussie statement.
Okay, right. It's a good Aussie statement, is it really? Okay, right. Fair enough. No worries. Yeah. I don't know. I love doing this as well. When you're looking up information, I like to channel the information first, and then I'll look it up afterwards. Because I find the channeling thing tends to be pretty spot on. And sometimes the stuff that you read on the internet, you go, just seems like they're repeating stuff. Thank you, Coral. Hope life is treating you well and families well. Lynn, Atsu Ken, Chrissy, Kim, Vita, everyone, Glenn, Brimble, everybody, Chrissy, Christine, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Really enjoyed it. Really hope you enjoy the readings as well. If you do like them, do share them. The more that we can grow, the more that we're understanding that we can bring to the world together. Because I don't have the solution, you don't have the solution, we have the solution, and we're all part of that solution. And if we can just wake up and be part of it, we would never need a system that's called Parlement. And anybody who speaks French will understand that a system called Parlement, actually, when you break it down into French, means house of speaking. Parlement lies. House of speaking lies. We don't actually really need governance over us, really, if we all lived our lives with good, clean, common sense. Sim, as well, man. I'll have a lovely night. Much joy to you. How's your partner, by the way? I hope everything's sorted out for her and everything like that. Is everything okay? Just wanted to make sure. I was thinking about her today. Just checking in with her as well. Just making sure everything was okay. Just wanted to make sure she's okay before I sign off. If not, I'll have to give you. I'll send you a mail. I'll send you a message, and everything like that. Was it all good, Sim? And there's Jane. Hi, Jane. Yeah, I didn't say goodbye to Jane. Yeah, see you later, Jane. And Ruth as well. And Adelia. And Stacey was there earlier on as well. And Christine as well. Yeah, so yes, thank you for asking. She is recovering. Excellent. Okay. I did want to ask a question about that, so I'll speak to you during the week for that. Okay, because there's something that came up on my radar that I wanted to ask about. Anyway, yeah, I'll speak to you during the week about that. Okay, man. Look, much joy to everybody. Really do sort of much joy to you. Let me just sign off with bring the screen back up to that. Much joy to everybody. Obviously, don't forget, explore life. It should be fun. You're going to get it wrong. This is what I mean. This is why I put out these videos over the weekend about the paranormal thing. It's because, at first glance, you may see it one way. Once you start doing a bit of work and cleaning things up, you may see things a little bit differently. And each time you do something, it just reveals and reveals. And eventually you see the ultimate inner truth and you kind of go, yes, great. And we all learn collectively through the morphic resonance, as it were. Okay, so, whatever you do in life, I have complete and utter faith with every single one of you. Life is absolutely amazing. So whatever you do, don't forget, it should, really seriously, it should be fun. Doesn't mean it's always easy, and it doesn't mean that it's not emotionally trying sometimes. But even through that trying tribulations, keep looking out for life, because it will always be around the corner to sort of pick you up and sort of kind of go, yeah, come and play, let's go and enjoy. So life should be fun, so please do enjoy. All right, ciao for now. Bye bye, everybody. Love you dearly.